Not clickbait. Unfortunately, in the prime of my 20s, from 26 to the age of 29, I didn't have any luck with ladies. Zero. Not one. It actually got so bad, though, unfortunately, that I could come to climax with only my mind. And that was a time that I do not reflect on exactly fondly, but it was definitely a time of self-exploration. Now, if I could teach you how to reach your own orgasm with just your mind, this video would do 1 million views, but that's not why we're here today. What we're here today to talk about is the power of discipline and also the dark side of discipline. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I feel like this is one, my greatest strength. Talk to anybody I know, any of my friends, my family, also my greatest weakness. Through the lens of the book, Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday is a prolific author, speaker. I love Ryan's stuff, but something that I've been thinking a lot about lately is how can I balance ambition and discipline with maybe a more balanced life? Those things don't always tend to go great or hand in hand. Sometimes you have a lot of success and ambition through discipline, but how can I also live maybe a little bit more of a happy life? And I'm gonna break this video down into 2 different pieces. So I'll have everything kind of time stamped up below. This isn't going to be the entire book, but these are gonna be keys, top takeaways. Let's jump into it. This first category is keys to structure. The first key to structure is do difficult things intentionally. We've talked about this time and time again. If you are soft, you will continue to be soft until you do things that are difficult. But challenge yourself, find what your comfort zone is, find ways to push past it. That's how you grow. Toughness, doing difficult things is a muscle that atrophies, unfortunately. So this is something that you need to continue to do. Going to the gym, taking some sort of new class, pushing yourself creatively, emotionally, whatever it is, find ways to challenge yourself and do it. Piggybacking off of the last one, show up. This one I love. This is pretty much, if you say you want to do something, you got to do it. You say you want to be a writer, create a writing habit, right? Every single day. Whatever you say you want to do in your heart of hearts, you know what that is. I can't speak for you. You got to show up, and that is half the battle. If you want to become more fit, for me, I love this. I work out 6 days a week, rain or shine. Why? I just show up. Even if I feel like it, if I don't, doesn't matter. I get my butt to the gym, doing some sort of physical activity, no matter what. And then you don't have to count on it. You don't have to feel like, oh, do I feel like doing it or not? Same with motivation, inspiration for writing or whatever. Like, you just gotta show up and let it come to you. For me, 9 times out of 10, if I'm not feeling like working out, after I get warmed up, I start kind of get moving and grooving, I actually can work my way into it. Another piece that is showing up that I love, which I was just telling you about, is make it a routine. If you can do something daily, then it feels like it's not as much of a heavy lift to do it because it's just something you do. Like I was saying with the workout thing, for me, that's just part of my routine, just something I do. As much as we don't like to think of routine because it feels almost like it hinders our creativity, a lot of times the muse or the power inspiration, if you start showing up at the same time every day for whatever it is that you want to do, the muse and inspiration almost comes to you just from being there and saying you're going to be there. I've talked about this before. This one is really powerful. Keep the main thing the main thing. I talk about this a lot with athletes. You start getting some recognition or some clout or something like that, and you start going off doing these other things. Musicians, the same thing. These amazing celebrities that we love end up having a short career because they have this amazing thing they're doing and they leave it. You got to keep doing what got you to the dance in the first place. Another powerful one, learn your vices. We all got vices. I got a lot of vices. This one's crazy. Money, sex, ambition, drugs. Learn your vices. We all got them. Whatever it is, figure out what it is for you and then find ways to either incorporate that energy in a good way or create structure in your life so that you don't fall prey to your vices, but that knowledge of self is really important. Needing less inspires more. The less you need, the less people have power or leverage over you. I thought this was really important. To me, this manifested the most when I was trying to make it as an artist in LA. I'd moved out there for an opportunity and I realized I was really just out there clout chasing. Because I wanted the fame so desperately, I was willing to do whatever it took to get it. Doing work I didn't genuinely enjoy doing. When you need something from somebody else, the more that you need, the more people are gonna have leverage over you. Same comes with things like money and your work. The more of a crazy lifestyle you have, the more you're gonna need to stay in maybe a job you don't love to support the lifestyle. Like real freedom comes from autonomy. The less you desire, the richer you are, the freer you are, the more powerful you are. This next part of the video we're breaking into is the second piece, and this is the keys to flexibility. How do you balance the rigid nature with the flexibility and roll with the punches that life is gonna throw at you, right? As they say, I think about this a lot, rigid things are fragile. And as myself as a little bit of a rigid person, when I get off my routine or when I get thrown punches I'm not able to roll with, I struggle with things a little bit more. I love this one. Perfection is paralysis. Another way that you spell perfection is with paralysis. You hear this all the time with people who wanna start something, some sort of creative endeavor or a business or whatever. Perfection is an excuse. It's never gonna be perfect. We all gotta start somewhere. You start somewhere, you get lessons along the way, you build and you iterate from there. Nobody's perfect when they start out. A lot of times, that's our own self-doubt, imposter syndrome, things inside that we have to work out, but perfection never exists. Like, you gotta start, stop coming up with excuses, just do it. Bouncing off of that, off of running out of excuses, as much as you want to be perfect when you start, there is no perfection to strive for. You will never arrive. There is never a time when you get to some place you go, oh yeah, I did it, I'm good. You climb to the top of one mountain, you're gonna see the top of another mountain. That's just the way that the game goes. You can listen to interviews with any celebrity. I love listening to interviews with celebrities when they talk about this. It was amazing when I won the Grammy, won the Academy Award, won the Oscar, whatever it is, and they say the next day, I woke up feeling a little empty because I didn't know what I was striving for. But we want to strive for something. That's the key. Be grateful in the moment and understand at the same time, the key is the process. How do we find something we fall in love with just the fact that we're doing it, that it's enough? Because you never get to a point where it feels like it's perfect. This is a journey of progress and process. And that is really the key. This next section, same with me. These are lessons I need to learn. Everybody makes mistakes. Let yourself make mistakes. You don't have to be perfect every time. There's a beauty in making mistakes too, if you did your best. It will be difficult. It doesn't mean it needs to be miserable. I think for myself, I often feel like if it's not incredibly difficult, then I'm doing it wrong. And I've learned along the way that it doesn't always have to be a kick in the ass. It doesn't always have to be super painful. There are ways to do things when it can be easy. It can feel easy. We make it difficult on ourselves because we feel like if it's not, then maybe we didn't earn it. That's just not true. Hold yourself to a high standard, but don't beat yourself up unintentionally. Have enough wisdom to see your accomplishments and show yourself some love. Speaking of showing yourself some love, I love this next one. This one's manage the load. As myself, as an independent person, as a person who's very autonomous, someone who feels a lot of pride in being self-sufficient, I'm not great at managing the load. What this means is delegate, ask for help. What are you doing that is eating up a lot of time that is not in your zone of genius? For me, whether that's building websites, editing video, doing these other things, editing audio, like I have a zone of genius, I need to stay in it. How can I make these videos better? What can I do to perform better for these videos, write better scripts, write better poems? How can I make these videos better? I don't need to get caught in necessarily the minutia of what goes into the YouTube channel. Right now I am, because it's just me and my editor, Jester. Shout out Jester, he's the man. But other than that, it pretty much is a two-man show right now for the most part. I'm looking forward to the day when I can delegate out for things like strategy, for thumbnails, for titles, for descriptions, all these other things that you have to do when you're first starting out, I think is important. You kind of got to start somewhere. Know the different pieces of the game. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. There's a real power. I found as soon as I outsourced the video editing to Jester, we were able to come up with way more interesting ideas. The product increased. You're actually doing yourself a disservice by trying to do everything yourself. It's not an asset. Learn to delegate, manage the load. Another one of my all-time favorites, do your best and accept that that's the best that you can do. For me right now with these videos, I've also been working on writing, they aren't perfect. I know I've got a long way to go, but this is the best that I can do right now. And I've got to be okay with that. You don't have to win. You don't have to be number one. It actually doesn't matter whether you win or lose. Because if you play it all out, then you're the best you can do. And your best is good enough. Ooh, that's fire, Ryan, that's fire. Oh, that's a bar. Like I said before, discipline can be an incredible superpower. It can also be a crutch. And for me in my late 20s, I didn't have any intimate relationships because I was so driven and so ambitious. And in doing so, I think I lost out on a lot of really beautiful opportunities. And to be honest, I still do continue to lose out on these things. This is not a dance I figured out. I have gotten better, continue to push myself to be a little more human, but also understanding that these are parts of me that I do love and that I do think are responsible for a lot of my happiness. At the same time, it's understanding how can you show yourself more love? How can you be more in tune with the fact that perfect doesn't exist, the fact that perfection is holding you back, that you will never arrive. These are things that I really loved. And this is a book that I think is super worth reading. A lot of this stuff you already know. doesn't hurt to hear again. I think when discipline is related to ambition, we can rationalize almost any behavior. And discipline in and of itself can almost become a crutch. It can become an addiction. Almost how long can I put up with the pain before I'm giving myself the reward? And I don't think that that's always healthy. I think that there is a way that you can have that dance between both of these things. There's a lot about myself that I'm struggling with and that I'm working with and working through. And it's one about having the discipline to do these things and also having the discipline to be flexible, which sounds very strange, but it's creating a space for self-love in and of itself is a discipline. And so for me, I think that's where this book really shines. It's a lot of these things I already knew from listening to interviews with Ryan, but like I said, it's a great refresher to know what can I do to still be in my zone of genius and also learn and develop in a way that I am more flexible, that I'm not as rigid, that I can have my cake and eat it too. I think those possibilities are out there for me. I also think that they're out there for you. Thank you so much for tuning in as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.